Друзья, похлопаем нашему онлайну.
Всем привет! Мы очень рады всех приветствовать на вебинаре, посвященном третьей международной конференции для технических писателей. Подчеркиваю, в этот раз международный, потому что наши докладчики в этот раз из Индии будут выступать на английском языке, поэтому весь вебинар дальше мы будем вести на английском языке. И я сразу вас попрошу задавать вопросы в чате также на английском языке, чтобы сэкономить время и дискоммуникацию. И задавайте вопросы в чате конференции. Вебинар продлится минут 40-50. Также по традиции среди тех, кто задавал вопросы, мы разыграем онлайн-билет за самый интересный вопрос по мнению наших спикеров. И я думаю, самый момент перейти на английский язык. Hello, I'm glad to welcome everyone, and this webinar is related to the third international conference of technical writers, and these technical writer days will be held in Moscow in March, so we will glad to see everybody there. And some organizational moments. The webinar will last approximately 40-50 minutes. We kindly ask you to write your questions in the chat of conference in English. And traditionally, the author of the most interesting question will receive a ticket to participate in the conference online. And I'll ask Natalia to introduce our speakers today and the topic of this webinar.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is a truly new experience because we're holding this webinar in English and we have international speakers, just like Oksana said. Today, we will be talking with Krishika, Karthigeyan, and Kaustubh. They're joining us from far, far away. And we're gonna speak about the hottest topic today. It's AI in documentation. And our speakers will discuss their experience with introducing AI into their documentation workflow. They will guide us through the documentation development life cycle with in the context of AI tools, like how they use AI at every stage of documentation development, from planning, drafting, to developing, maintaining, and localization. And also we will discuss like how do we keep quality and human oversight over AI-generated docs. And our speakers will share some real-life experience with us. So please welcome our speakers.
Thank you, Natalia, for the introduction. I hope that everyone could see the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So we're going to talk about GenAI Leap and how we can create a new documentation using the GenAI Leap. So we all know that technical documentation has always been the backbone of product understanding, right? For years, we have relied on structured methods, careful planning, and human expertise to bring clarity to complexity. But today, we stand at a turning point. Through this presentation, we would like to take you on a journey that shows how GenAI is reshaping the entire documentation landscape. It is also enhancing the quality of our content, accelerating delivery timelines, and enabling technical writers not just to keep with the change, but also to lead with it. Yeah. So before we begin, I would like to introduce the team behind the presentation. Our group brings together a mix of experience in technical documentation. Myself, Krishika, working as a senior technical documentation specialist at Siemens. We have Karthigeyan and Kaustubh working as documentation specialist at Siemens too. Together, we have been exploring the application of GenAI in technical documentation, and we are excited to show our insights with you today. Well, so now let's understand about DDLC, known as Documentation Development Life Cycle. Okay, so the current diagram explains various process that has been involved in the DDLC stages. So if you see, there are different boxes that are being highlighted. So I would like to explain what are these each boxes in the DDLC stages. Okay. So the boxes that are highlighted in blue color indicates the process phase. For example, information gathering, content creation, publishing, and so on. And the boxes highlighted in pink color indicates the major challenges that we face in documentation projects. So once the first draft is ready from our side, the real challenges begin with endless review loops. The writers, the editors, and SMEs would go back and forth through 5 or 4 review cycles, refining the accuracy, fixing the inconsistency, and also aligning with style guides. And each of these steps are dependent on someone's availability. And the boxes that are highlighted in purple color indicates the intensive steps within each project phases. And lastly, the boxes that are highlighted in yellow color indicates the human-driven activity, such as the manual research, aligning with style guides, and so on. Hence, creating technical documentation was a slow, meticulous, and entirely human-driven journey. Writers would begin by gathering requirements one meeting at a time, waiting for SMEs to walk them through product features, often juggling incomplete details and shifting priorities. So every document which we start is from the blank page, we crafted manually through long hours of research, structuring, and rewriting to make complex information user friendly.
So here's the deal. Pretty much every company out there is diving into AI right now. And it's not just the big flashy stuff. Even documentation teams are finding clever ways to use large language models. They are letting AI handle the boring bits like rewriting content, summarizing specs, cranking out UI text and articles. AI is sliding into every corner of documentation process, from the first brainstorming through drafting and even up to maintaining the documentation. So on the screen, we have a diagrammatic representation of the current challenges that our large teams are facing while implementing AI. So if you watch closely, there are two boxes. One explaining how a team which is trying to implement GenAI using unstructured prompt will go through the document development, and when you are using POML, how it can be done. So I'll be explaining what's POML in a bit. As more writers adopt prompting techniques, the number of prompts are growing very quickly. These prompts often become inconsistent, duplicated across teams. This leads to variability in content quality, difficulty in maintaining and updating prompts. This will add a high governance and oversight burdens to enterprise teams. This raises an important question. How do we standardize prompts and these techniques? One solution we identified is POML, which which stands for Prompt Orchestration Markup Language and can be pronounced as POML. POML provides a structured and scalable way to build, maintain, and reuse prompts. You can think POML as the HTML of prompts. It is organized, it is modular, it is supported by professional tooling, and with POML, creation becomes consistent, predictable, and easier to manage across large documentation workflows. So if you see the prompt created in the diagram, when he uses a unstructured prompt, he'll be using either a notepad or any other word documentation tools which is not fixed at the moment, and he'll be creating a prompt and which is manually version. They have to share it through email channels or other communication modes. So there is always a high risk of time being wasted in all this communication, and data is lost um, during these phases. However, while working with POML, there is already a developer ecosystem that a person can borrow, and they can closely maintain the versioning system through Git. And POML has a structure and a fixed versioning scheme. So, and you can also incorporate different types of data. So to understand this even closely, here we are diagrammatically showing like what are the problems with an unstructured prompt and how a POML can overcome it. So the lack of structure is overcome with syntax that also includes semantics. So LLMs have context while they work with your prompts. And when it is hard to reuse while writing text, which is like every other person will be writing a prompt in a different way, but in POML you can have a proper reusable maintained versioning system that you can also incorporate with Git and other methods. So another key advantage is that POML can reference documents, tables, and images directly with its built-in tags for documents, tables, and images. POML also includes a way to separate formatting logic similar to CSS that works for HTML. So this means that you can adjust the tone, style, and output formatting without changing the core instructions. So the content is separate from any other additional type of styling or other inputs that are related to writing. And regarding the tooling, you can use IDs like VS Code or linting tools that already the developer ecosystem is already using. So overall, what's the greatest advantage of POML is it gives you great structure, consistency, and you can scale it across different increased workflows, and it will make the governance very simpler. So to cross through quickly, when you're talking about large enterprise teams or big teams, so these are the quick points what makes POML more attractive for using within big teams. So it will provide consistency across different teams in your organization. You can scale and keep all the prompts in a library stored, and you can share them across teams, and you can standardize, create almost similar to style guides. And you can also integrate the rich technical assets like tables, images, videos in in the input prompt itself. And also this will because you are maintaining a versioning system, iteratively you can improve it over time. So this makes it future proof also. So to understand it even better, let's go through a demo in which we'll be developing the user guide for uh, a made up product. It is called Data Insight Pro, which is a cloud based analytics platform. So we'll go through the key stages in the document development life cycle, starting with planning and analysis, then moving on to design, content development, and review. So planning analysis in any document development life cycle is a phase where we focus on understanding the project requirements. We want to identify the target audience and define the scope of the documentation. This stage sets the foundation for the subsequent design and other phases that are yet to follow. So when implementing GenAI for this phase, if you look at the prompt that is displayed on the screen, it is an unstructured example where we are using a simple natural language prompt that asks for creating a project plan for the analysis phase. However, some LLMs may react differently to it, and also it depends on the person who is writing the prompt. And below this, you have a POML example. In contrast, POML prompt provides a clear structured format for the same request. It uses specific tags to define role. For example, you can see within the meta, you have an information for technical writer or documentation team who will be using this prompt. So additionally, you have in the start tag like prompt ID, you have a version called 1.0. So next iteration might improve the versioning system of the prompt too. And it clearly describes all the elements like goal, context, and also if you go into the source, you provide what are the style guides or other documents that you want the prompts to be following, and then also the expectations of the project. And within the inputs, you have the um, product name, product type, all these can be defined by the user. And this is a template that a person can readily use and share across different teams. And in the instructions, will be clearly describing what are the project requirements from the business unit and all the activities that you anticipate will be required within the planning phase. So how to use this prompt? To use this prompt, you have to fill in the placeholders like the project information, product name, product type, target users, and the timeline of the project. Then you can just copy your template, prompt template, and paste it into a LLM search box. And boom, there comes a copilot. So in our testing, we used copilot to try these prompts, and copilot returned this particular response. So in this response, you could see it has created a planning and analysis project plan for data insights pro, and where you have the maintenance engineers and system administrators are the user personas. And the input was like to create only a PDF user guide. And for the planning phase, we have timed it with 1 week of duration, and it had clearly created a extensive project documentation that you can document in Jira and also communicate to the team. It also gives the timelines for each activity that you are supposed to follow during this phase.
In the design phase, we focus on planning the content structure, defining the information architecture, and creating visual models to guide the content development process. This stage is crucial for ensuring that the documentation is organized, user-friendly, and aligned with the needs of the target audience. Now, let me show you how we can use POML to design the document structure for this phase. The POML prompt for design stage includes specific instructions for the AI to follow when designing the structure. As you can see, there are multiple tags over here, starting with the meta tag, which contains the meta details like the title of the project and the author, and also the LLM model, the assistant which we are using to for this activity. And then there is the goal tag and the context tag, source tag, expectations, and also scroll down. So an input tags where you can input your product name, product type, and also the audience who will be using this document, and also the documentation format. And here is the core, the instruction tag contains the core prompt, which will be containing all the information to design the structure of the document. And it clearly outlines the content structure, information architecture, and visual models for the documentation project. Next slide. So this is an example of the response generated by the Copilot based on the POML prompt for the design phase. The output is structured and follows the instructions provided in the prompt, demonstrating how POML can help produce consistent and high quality content. As you can see, it clearly outlines the output content structure of the document, and also how the information can be structured in the architecture of the document, and other miscellaneous items. Next slide. So this is an example of the information architecture visual model generated by Copilot based on the POML prompt. The visual model gives a clear representation of the content structure and how different sections of the documentation are organized and related to each other. This helps guide the content development process and ensures that the documentation is user-friendly and easy to navigate. Now let's break down the visual module. The top level represents the main sections of the documentation, such as introduction, getting started, user guide, API reference, and troubleshooting. Each section is further broken down into subsections that cover specific topics or features of the product. The visual model also shows the relationship between different sections, indicating how users can navigate through the documentation to find the information they need. Now, moving on to the next stage, content development. In the content development phase, we focus on creating the first draft of the documentation based on the design and information architecture established in the previous stage. This stage involves writing clear, concise, and accurate content that effectively communicates the product features and usage to the target audience. Let's look at how we can use POML to generate content for this phase. The POML prompt for content development includes specific instructions for the AI to follow when generating the draft content, ensuring that it aligns with the established design and information architecture which we decided in the previous stage. Next stage. So this is an example of the content development plan generated by Copilot based on the POML prompt. The plan outlines the steps and considerations for creating the first draft of the documentation, ensuring that it aligns with the established design and information architecture, which we defined in the previous stage. As you can see, there are multiple factors over here: phase overview, objectives, and roles and responsibilities, content development approach, writing guidelines and standards, and content creation workflow, and tools and systems that will be needed for the drafting phase, content development deliverables. So these are the factors which will be shown in the Copilot response. Now moving on to next stage, which is the review phase. So in the review phase, we focus on refining the content through multiple review cycles, ensuring accuracy, consistency, and alignment with style guides. This stage is critical for producing high quality documentation that meets the needs of the target audience. The POML prompt for the review phase includes specific instructions for generating a review checklist that can be used by writers, editors, and SMEs during the review process. This checklist helps ensure that all necessary aspects of the documentation are reviewed and refined systematically. Next. So this block is intentionally left blank to show the flexibility of POML. You can customize the review checklist based on your specific documentation needs, product complexity, and team workflows. The example provided is a starting point that you can expand or modify as necessary. So the key takeaway is that POML allows you to create structured prompts that can guide the AI in integrating useful and actionable outputs for every stage of the documentation development lifecycle. So before we conclude, I would like to show you a live working demo of one of the stages using the POML methodology in Microsoft Copilot. So let me share my screen. I hope everybody is able to see my screen. You can see my screen, right?
No.
Sorry. How about now?
Still no, we cannot. Okay, it's loading. Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So you can see the Copilot tab right there. So this is the input prompt which we used for the design stage, as I shown in the presentation. So we copy and paste the prompt from there. And here you can see the output for the same. So this is the output. which the large language module is producing right now. So now we can ask the model to create a structure or a visual model, tree model for the same. So we need to use a prompt similar to this. As you can see over here, it is creating an ASCII tree model for the same. It is similar to what I showed you or what Karthigeyan showed you in the previous presentation. So this is the live working demo of how we can use AI for each of the stages using the formal methodology of prompting. Now I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay, so this is.
Karthi, I think you need to share the HTML from
Yes.
the presentation again. Yeah. So thanks for being a part of this presentation on the transformative impact of generative AI in documentation. We hope it has provided valuable insights into how AI is reshaping our industry and inspiring you to explore its potential in your own work. So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, then please feel free to ask us and we'll be happy to respond to you.
Thank you so much for this presentation and for your experience. I actually have the first question to ask. It is more of a philosophical question, not a technical one. So today we looked in depth at how writing structured prompts makes it easier and more efficient working with AI tools. But how do you think the role of technical writer will look in the context of AI age and using AI tools for documentation development? Like, what changes in the role of technical writer now?
One thing to keep in mind always is a co-pilot is co-pilot. It's not autopilot. It will not do all the work for you. You need a person to tell it what to do. And even though systems are smart nowadays, but we can. It has just given us more time to do meaningful things rather than do some mundane, repetitive tasks, and which we can do. And it has also given us the power to automate a lot of things that we have been doing manually and wasting a lot of time. We can focus on the content and add meaning to our projects in a very fruitful way. So, and in comparison, I'm also intrigued by the fact of the capability of different LLMs. So when you come into, there are places where it can also produce the content, first drafts for you, and but it involves a little bit more research into choosing the right model for the task you want and do. So to keep things very simple, we just demonstrated everything with Copilot today, because it's accessible for everybody who has a Windows machine can use Copilot these days. Yeah, I think in a way, though these things are there, I'm not seeing any change in how we technical writers work. One change is we'll not be doing boring things, copy pasting stuff, or even in that, say, it's going to make us more efficient in the coming days. That's my view on this.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And we have some questions in our chat. So I think we can go forward and to read the questions. Natalia, will you help us with that?
Yes, sure.
Thanks.
Okay, so the first question comes from Dennis. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I might have missed this information in your report.
We
What
used
specific- Yeah. Okay. you can answer.
Kaustubh, would you like to take this question?
Well, before we worked on this solution, we had internal models in our organization. So we were making use of OpenAI GPT 4.1, but later, we couldn't actually showcase the internal LLM which we were using. So we had to make use of a Microsoft Copilot, and Microsoft Copilot, it has GPT-5. So currently, for the live working demo which we showed you, it was GPT-5 was made use for it. I hope that answers your questions, Dennis. Is there anything else?
Yes, thank you. If it's not enough, so our audience will ask again. And let's go for this next question.
Okay, so is there a comparative analysis of using different AI agents? Maybe you have prepared your own analysis when you were choosing which agent to use.
Yeah, to give very decisive answer for this, we started to look at this from the Hugging Face site, which mentions all the capabilities of different models. So I have seen whenever we want have writing tasks, GPT performs well. Even the cloud, mostly we go with the cloud models or GPT versions of the model. So because we wanted to think logically, do deep analysis, so we have the table created. It's too much to present for today's thing. So there is, in short, the answer to this is like, whenever we have writing kind and project planning assignments, you can go with cloud, and for describing and creating drafts, GPT does better. And we have not created any agents as per se, though we have not, the current POML structure allows you to use it within the Copilot infrastructure inside an IDE, but we have not deployed that yet. So we've been working manually.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have the third question from Dennis.
Is there a quantitative comparative analysis comparing the efficiency of traditional documentation development versus using POML? What is the efficiency in terms of percentages, hours, and other metrics?
To say POML, it's a framework, and we have not measured any. It's like, to say, like, if you're going to ask GPT a question like write a document, another person might put it, write a document for this, he might describe it in a different way. What POML gives is consistency. Like, you create a structure, you write it, or another member of your team writes it, so it gives consistency. So consistency in the sense repeatability for any project. So when you have a large team working together, you create a different manuals for different products, and in an enterprise outlook, everything should look the same. So we have not measured it right now as far as, and maybe we'll try this going forward. We'll give thoughts into this. As of now, we have not done.
Sorry for interrupting. Well, the prompting technique, it varies from technical writer to technical writer. Not everyone can be as good as someone else while prompting the model to do certain work for you, right? So POML, it provides you a structure while prompting. So any person, any technical writer, if they want to get some activity done from the LLM model, they can use this structure in order to maintain consistency, such that the efficiency of the output which each technical writer produces is on similar level, and there isn't too much of difference between each of them. So that is one of the reasons why we went with the POML methodology.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have another question. This is from Olga. Hi, does it require any plugins in VS Code? I guess it's about using POML.
Yep. Yeah. You can even write it with a normal text editor, but when you use VS Code, you can have a POML plugin that is available in that store. So it provides linting, like how XML tags are like colored. It makes writing smoother. It is available and it's free and available. And you have a POML page too, like when you Google from Microsoft site. So they explain other use cases where we have applied it to documentation. People have it for maybe different use cases like building products and things, so where they want consistency. So you can have a look at that too. Yeah.
Thank you. And we have another question. Hi, how long did it take you to find a convenient prompt format for working with documentation and implement it into your project?
Yeah, I think it took almost a week time, because since we created a random project, a dummy project, and then we kind of designed the project, the designing, the planning, and all those things. So based on your project requirement, you can just check with your SMEs, and then you can put those data and you can create a prompt out of it. It's too easy, like as Karthigeyan said, right? Once you have a prompt material with you, you can draft your own prompts. So it doesn't take that much of time. We took like almost a week time to get it done.
Wow, it sounds fast.
Thank you. And another question. I'm sorry, I might pronounce it incorrectly. Dhanyavad for interesting presentation. Do you have a library of POML prompts that you use that you can share with coworkers? If yes, what tool or database do you use to store the library?
Yeah, you can maintain a repo on Git. Like the moment, like you can have one person, like a central repository where you can have all the prompt templates, and which includes the versioning also. So, and while you share it across, when you want to create a new project, you can pull it. If prompts are updated, you can also Git is the best thing to use. We are using that. So internally in Siemens, we have our own GitLab. So so where we have that internally. So for open source or like freelance projects, even when you have people working across globally in different locations, you could use GitHub. It works. Yeah, it's good. And I think GitHub will help in sharing them too. We have our own prompt set created as of now, and but however, the ones that we showcased are a mock set. So because it was crafted specifically for the cloud software development projects. So it also depends upon adding the nature of product that you're trying to document. For example, all that tags that are used inside a prompt, they are not fixed. It's just provides context to the LLM. So you can customize it, unlike HTML, which has fixed prompts. This is almost similar to XML. So you can add and remove. And always the best thing is like you take some template and modify it for your own, customize it for your own project or enterprise in that case.
Thank you so much. And another interesting question. If we talk about the practice of using POML, are there any difficulties of including non-English parts in the prompt, if applicable to your work, of course? For example, if I ask you to process text in Russian, Kazakh, or even switch between them.
Shall I take this? Yeah. This is a good question, and you can. There is no difficulty. I see no difficulty unless you must mention the character support within the prompt. Maybe you could add a tag for character support, including your text. And one additional thing you might need to check is whether the LLM which you will be prompting supports or like it's capable of handling those languages is another thing. And POML is going to make your work easy. Within the same prompt, you can have a tag for Russian content just by opening a element tag and attributing language equal to within quotes Russian and repeating the same tag with language with attribute giving within quotes Kazakh. And in the same prompt, you can have the scripts for Russian and Kazakh or in a separate files if they are inputs. And you can give the link in the prompt, and it should work well. So it's going to make only thing you need to pay attention here is which LLM you will be choosing. You have to, if you are going and looking, you have to do some research on the Hugging Face page or even some open source models and find out whether they support these languages, which is better in translating and doing this language tasks easily. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I believe there are no
sorry.
more questions. Sorry.
Is there any more? I think it's time to choose a winner. So, guys, please tell us which question did you remember and find the most interesting one.
To me, I feel like the Kazakh Russian question, that was a very good one.
Same here.
Me too.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, we will contact the person in Telegram. Thank you so much for your presentation. Thanks everybody for their attention. That was amazing experience, and also it's actually very interesting topic. I think we met one more question.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll read it. In your work, have you ever encountered a situation where an AI agent couldn't correctly interpret a document created using POML? Were there any errors on the AI side? If so, how can they avoid it? So yeah, thank you. Now you can see this.
One thing about AI is that, we cannot completely trust the output which the AI provides, right? Because human judgment is required up to a certain extent. So, you can use the AI as your assistant to provide output up to a certain extent. But after that, you need to check the output yourself, and if there are any errors which the AI, if there are any errors in the output which the AI has provided, then you need to correct the errors, or you need to prompt the AI in such a way that it provides a better output. So that is my suggestion. Karthik, if you want to add more to this.
In the past, we were using review bots like with custom prompts. We did not use POML by then. We faced a lot of challenges. So I think Krishika would be able to give a better context on
Yeah.
that.
So actually, we created a bot based on the style guide, so that it acts like a preliminary check. So when a writer writes a first draft content, we run to the style guide bot, and it helps us whether all the styles are adhered to those rules. And that is just a draft content, and post that it is our writer's duty to refine it further based on our product knowledge and based on our experience that we have in the technical writing.
But we have seen the LLMs doing a lot of blunders and mistakes when we used a text type prompt. but we haven't deployed POML in that area. That's the next step we are going to do. And I think that's why we came up and another but you can minimize the errors, like how people are talking about agents. If you are able to create multiple agents, and one could create for writing, another for reviewing that, like the same cycle, like one autonomous cycle from A to Z. So, and you link it, it's possible to minimize content, but still there is a question of explainability, how it achieves and how did it do that. So that is there, and we often include a line with our prompt to explain each step, like why it decided this based on that on a table. And that's a way of cutting short this problem. Like AI does mistakes. Actually, you have to test it properly. It takes a lot of time to test. Creating when she discussed about creating the prompt library for 1 week, it creating prompts is just half a day, and testing it is all throughout all the days in that week. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, in our experience, it's the same. It's like we write the prompt, but then you have to deal with the output. It's like you said, a Copilot is not an autopilot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. We hope to see you personally on our conference one day.
Sure.
And the closest one will be on March in Moscow, but the next one will be in St. Petersburg in autumn. So we will glad to see you there. And thank you, everybody, again. And sorry, guys, for my Russian, but I have to finish this webinar. Всем спасибо большое за внимание. Огромное спасибо за ваши вопросы. Павел с вами свяжутся в Телеграме насчет онлайн-билета. И мы с вами встретимся 12 марта на финальном вебинаре перед самой конференцией. Так что увидимся. Всем спасибо, всем пока.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
all. See you. Bye.